All right. We are live on YouTube. For anyone watching or who watches us live, you can write in your comments. We can watch, we can see what you say. Feel free to write us with questions, comments, asking for advice, talking about your team, anything like that. And welcome back to FantaCTE. My name is Nick Masick. We also have Lonnie Cox and Vital DeJuice. Welcome back, guys. Good to see you. All right, we got a fun show today. I'm excited. We're gonna talk about a bunch of stuff. Today's show, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna do a little Thanksgiving preview. We're gonna talk about trade deadlines and maybe some trade targets you might want to look at if yours hasn't already passed. We got NFL outside the US. The NFC East is big news. We're gonna talk about a couple new records that were set. The Lions win streak. We're going to play over under. I got some fun ones for you guys today. And I'd rather have Kaepernick than. But first, why your team sucks with Lonnie Cox.
Hello, everybody. Another edition of Why Your Team Sucks. This was a hard one. I was between the Minnesota Vikings and the New York Jets. I couldn't remember if the New York Jets have already been a target of Why Your Team Sucks this week. But just in case they were, we're going to go up to Minnesota, and we're going to talk about the Minnesota Vikings and why your team sucks. Everyone was thinking, man, last week, when we saw on this podcast, we were like, man, Minnesota could potentially be a Super Bowl contender. Mm-hmm. And then I started looking a little bit deeper in them, and I realized that they set the record for the most consecutive wins by one possession. 7 games they won by 1 score. And then they got absolutely dominated by my Dallas Cowboys yesterday. And I just want to read off a couple of stats. They only got 183 total yards yesterday, 110 passing yards, 3.4 yards per play. They got sacked 7 times, which is as many punts as they had in the game. They lost a fumble, and they only held the ball for 22 minutes. If I was a Minnesota fan, I would be a little bit nervous right now. I would start to see the foundation is maybe crumbling a little bit. But yeah, Minnesota, your team sucks this week.
Oh man, they were really bad. It's totally reasonable and acceptable to double dip at this point in the season because you're going to see teams are starting to suck for multiple reasons. So that's, obviously you're going to have to pick probably some double winners, especially when we get into the playoffs. It's going to be interesting when we get into the playoffs. We're going to keep doing why your team sucks. All right. So, yeah, man, those Vikings looked god awful. What happened to them? I mean,
well, a lot of it was Micah Parsons, bro. He was having his way out there with them, bro.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins had like no time in the pocket.
Yeah. Micah Parsons definitely happened to them. I feel like they left their starters in a lot longer than I expected them to in that game as well. On both sides, kind of. But I got the feeling from Minnesota that they were trying to figure some stuff out against these Cowboys. Because now you're at the point in the season where you're like, all right, we're probably going to make the playoffs. And it's very likely we're going to see this Cowboys team in the playoffs. So... like, instead of taking your guys out and being like, all right, we're just going to live to fight another day, I almost got the impression that they were like, let's see if we can figure this team out or some stuff that might work against them, like scouting for a potential playoff matchup and trying to build a little bit of confidence at some point, which at no point did they do that at all. So, but that was the only reason I could see, like, I'm like, wait, why is Dalvin Cook still in? Why is Justin Jefferson? Why is Kirk Cousins still in the game at this point? It's so far out of reach. So yeah, not a lot to look forward to if they do see the Cowboys in the playoffs. I don't think they'll be that bad again.
Yeah,
definitely not. But the question is what are they going to give? Like Micah Parsons, I think, is the clear front runner for Defensive Player of the Year, right? I mean, is there anybody else that we can think of that?
I mean,
not by numbers, but like TJ Watt is already coming back, making a huge impact on the Steelers.
He was my pick. Even he didn't play for a couple of games, but that doesn't necessarily rule him out. If he dominates super hard for the rest of the way,
those two, I think.
Nick Bosa for the Niners, we're going to see him tonight. He's been having a really good year. I don't know, but yeah, Micah Parsons got to be the front runner. He has to be, especially after last night's game. the offensive player of the year and the MVP those are awards that are kind of like questionable. There's no real clear front runners in any of those because all the players have kind of had a couple duds, it seems like. What do you think?
Accurate.
No? Who's not
Is
had
Tua not the clear front runner for MVP?
No, not at all. I think it's Pat Mahomes.
I think Pat Mahomes is also the front runner for the MVP.
You guys Dolphins bias is getting out of hand.
It's not Dolphins bias. I'm just saying, like,
great. You guys laughed at me when I said we would win the AFC East. Audible laughter. Now look.
You haven't won it yet. I mean, listen, all right.
Good.
By the way, I'm going to give you an asterisk if they do win it this year. If Josh Allen's elbow isn't 100%, he was still missing throws pretty badly at times yesterday.
Well, literally died from a concussion, bro. Like, how does he not get a pass?
But that's a concussion. That's not a throwing arm injury that you're trying to play through. I'm just
his
saying.
brain doesn't matter.
Yeah, okay.
You're killing me, bro.
I'm still
right now. As of right now, Tua has 18 touchdowns and 3 interceptions for a passer rating of for a passer rating of 118.4. That's very good.
Mm-hmm.
For 2,200 yards and a 71% completion
Missing
rating. Very, very good.
The numbers are there for him, you guys.
Now, for a comparison, here's Pat Mahomes. 1,000 more yards, 3,265 yards, a 66% completion rating. But here's where it starts to get a little insane is 28 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and a 107.3 passer rating.
A passer rating.
1,000 extra yards, the 10 more touchdowns.
He might have got closer to 900 in those 3 games. Those
but he didn't,
3 games would have ate up.
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
But the 10 touchdowns is pretty significant.
Yeah.
3 games.
He missed 3 games though. That has to be a part of
that's part of it. Yeah.
That is part of the thing. Listen, I'm not saying he's not in the MVP conversation. Tua is in the MVP conversation, which
this is Tua's last 3 games. Okay. So October 30th at the Lions, 80% completion percentage, 382 and 3 touchdowns with no interceptions, a 138.7 passer rating. At the Bears, a 70% completion rating with 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, a 135 passer rating. Mm-hmm. And yesterday, and with the Browns, a 78% completion percentage, 285 and 3 touchdowns. Now, and a 135 passer rating, no interceptions. That's about as good of a 3-game stretch as you're going to get out of an NFL quarterback, I would say.
Also, look at the difference between the how Buffalo plays the Browns and how Miami played the Browns. That was a cakewalk for us, man. You guys say what you want about Josh's elbow, but man, the whole team is beating him up.
Dude, you're still talking about elbow injury. It's a bad injury, and he's trying to play through it because he's still their best chance to win the games.
Man,
I'm just saying we're not seeing the Bills as good as they are. I don't think we're definitely not seeing Josh Allen as good as he could be.
Are we seeing the Dolphins as good as they could be? Our whole defense is up. The first time we beat the Buffalo, it was, their defense is hurt. Now when we beat Buffalo in December, it's going to be like his elbow was hurt. And then when we beat them in the playoffs, what? Their pride was hurt, right? Like, what's next?
Listen, I just want to see both teams playing each other at 100%. That is what I want as a fan. And right now, that's not really what we're seeing from the Bills. Listen, if Tua keeps going the way he is, he could win the MVP, but I won't say he's the front runner. But he's right there. He could do it for sure.
You guys don't see the momentum. I do.
Yeah, I just talked about it. The momentum's there. If he keeps going on that pace, very well could be. But Mahomes looked so good yesterday too. He looked. I mean, that last drive was some MVP type stuff right there. You got to. I don't want to just see numbers. I want to see Tua have a moment like that where you're like, ooh, he's gonna go down and do this. Like this is. Yes. A little adversity and just show me that
you're most valuable player. It's not offensive player of the year. It's most valuable.
Hard if you're so efficient though, dude. The last game they didn't punt at all. Like what? There's no moments of pressure. Like what do you want to do? Like,
I want to see one of those moments. That's all I'm saying. I want to see because when Mahomes took the ball over, you're like, he's gonna do it. He's gonna go down. He's gonna score a touchdown. They're gonna win this game. You believed. And I want to see Tua in a moment like that. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying I don't believe in him. I'm just saying I want to see it. That's all. All right. Yeah. Listen, I want to see it. It's going to happen at some point. Whether it doesn't happen until the playoffs is very possible. But it's gonna come down to him at some point making plays.
Nah, I bet we cakewalk it. We're gonna cakewalk this Super Bowl.
No way. They're definitely not gonna cakewalk. I don't think these Chiefs are gonna get cakewalked by anybody. Hey, you got an uphill battle. That's gonna be a tough game. I do want to see that game though. All right, we got to go a couple quick updates if you got games, because a lot of stuff's still happening tonight. I think Kyler Murray's going to be out. He's out. So if hopefully you managed your team and your expectations properly, if you are playing fantasy tonight, and you can grab Colt McCoy. It's a tough week. Some teams are probably screwed by this, but if you can get him, go out and get him. It looks like DeAndre Hopkins is playing though, I believe so. Melvin Gordon, how about this? Melvin Gordon got cut after, I'll say 2 not great games, but from a fantasy perspective, he helped me win a couple matchups. He did score okay in fantasy, and he got cut by the Broncos. 2 lost fumbles yesterday, I think it was. I mean, he's a fumble machine. He's so talented in so many other elements of his game. Just can't hold on to the ball. Do you see any landing spots for Melvin Gordon?
Yeah,
who do you think? Where do you think he's going to end up? What are potential good spots for him? Teams that really need help.
I think there's a room for him at the Jets for sure. They just need way more offensive production.
True. And didn't Michael Carter take an injury? He got like some kind of chest injury or something yesterday. I also like him in Carolina, possibly. I feel like they could use some help at running back. It's weird because like the first team, if you were going to say, put gun to my head, what team needs help at running back? I would say the Broncos.
Yeah, for sure. And they're out here cutting them.
They're out here cutting guys, cutting the guy who's, I don't know, but you guys send a message, I guess. So that'll be interesting to see. He's still going to be on fantasy rosters because he's still valuable. He's got, he's a good receiver out of the backfield, which means he's always going to have some fantasy value no matter where he lands. But he was starting in a lot of lineups last week because it was this is bipocalypse. This is the week that just so many players are either A, hurt, or B, on buys. And so a lot of guys were playing, a lot of people were scrambling for fill-ins at flex and stuff like that. A couple fun records were set yesterday. Cordero Patterson set the record for the most kick return touchdowns in NFL history, and he did it on a 100-yard return. That was awesome. He doesn't have the most returns. That still belongs to Devin Hester, but most kickoff returns belongs to Cordero Patterson. And what a cool, he set this record. He's 30 years old. I love the Cordero Patterson story. We've talked about it before. He said he's got more in him. Do you guys think he's got more kickoff return touchdowns in him right now? Like going forward? He's 30 years old, but he's still not showing signs of slowing down.
Yeah, I think so.
I say he's
he has so much speed and explosiveness. It really is just about waiting for a hole. And once he takes off through that hole with that acceleration, he's gone.
Yeah.
You can't catch him running backwards. It's just,
I know. And he's got power too. He's not quite Derrick Henry power, but he's pretty big and pretty powerful. He can break tackles also, which the combination of speed and power is unbelievable. And is this a record that we think might be out of reach? Is he gonna set this record and to never be broken again? I say this. So here, let me put it this way. Because he's been in the league for so long, he's kind of coming from an era where we had kick return specialists, guys like remember Dante Hall. We have Josh Cribbs. He's kind of the last of that era as I see it. You don't see a lot of guys. There's more multi-purpose guys handling kick and punt return duties now that have other purposes on the field. Do you think he might put this record out of reach for good? Is this one of the ones we're never going to see broken? Is always going to be a Cordero Patterson kickoff return touchdown record? What do you think?
It's possible. I mean, the league has moved away from kickoffs, so you don't really even see very many kickoffs get returned these days. So
that's true.
It's very possible.
Yeah, in general, that's right. The league is set up de-incentivized.
I mean, we just had our first punt return for a touchdown yesterday.
Walk off, right?
Yeah, which was the only good thing that happened in that game. Something else. Yeah, we can talk about that game. Wow. Boy, that was almost made it on why your team sucks. Lonnie with the Jets. This game looked bad.
Their defense played great.
Great.
It's one person. It really is. I can't believe they didn't put in, what's his name? Don't they have Flacco?
Yeah.
I was like, yo, put him in. They can't do worse.
Well, they are going to next week. It looks like.
Do you think have they officially said that, or is that just
not officially? But Robert Saleh basically said like,
we're done.
Zach Wilson is no longer our like clear-cut QB1. Like, we are not happy. Apparently, I don't know if you saw his interview after the game.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Apparently, it pissed a lot of people off. So
yeah, he was acting like he was infallible in this whole debacle.
Well, they were saying like, they asked him like, are you responsible? Like, do you feel responsible for like making your defense so tired that they lost the game? Mm-hmm. And he was like, no, blah, 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 like didn't basically own his part.
Right.
And
they set him up.
Yeah, I've never really been a big Zach Wilson believer. So,
I mean, coming out, he looked like he had some juice. He looked like he had some flash, but he hasn't looked like it since preseason of his rookie year. Did this game look worse for the Jets or the Patriots? And also, if the Jets end up winning that game on a kick return the way the Patriots won, are we still having the same conversation about Zach Wilson?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So, but we're not talking about Mac Jones. I mean,
no, I think we are still talking about Mac Jones. I think the Bailey Zappi conversation is still very much alive. Here's the difference: is the Jets have one of the best, if not the best, young defenses in football. You've got Sauce Gardner. CJ Mosley is still out there just doing his thing. He's still one of the like most underrated, untalked about, great middle linebackers in football. There's just talent all over the field on the defensive side of the football for the Jets. They have another corner there. I can't think of his name right now, but he is incredibly good. But Sauce Gardner is playing like he played in college. He's the front runner for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Aiden Hutchinson had another interception yesterday, but I think far and away the Sauce Gardner Defensive Rookie of the Year award. I mean, you've got arguably one of the better running back carousels in football. Your receiving core is great. You have CJ Uzoma. I know I'm not pronouncing that correctly, but it's like, you had Elijah Moore basically say like, I couldn't tell you what chemistry I have with Zach Wilson because I don't get the football.
Yeah.
Like, you've got great receivers, and then Joe Flacco comes in and puts up 40 points against Yeah. I mean, I remember us talking about, we were like, does Zach Wilson come back? We were asking like, does Zach Wilson get another chance? And I think they were like, I think the rule of thumb in the NFL is you don't lose your job to an injury. If you get injured, you're going to get the chance to come back. I think they did that. I think they gave Zach Wilson his shot. And now, like, if Joe Flacco is running that offense better than you are, like, we need to make a move, and we need to get somebody in there who can,
especially because they're
like Aaron. Imagine Aaron Rodgers on that team.
Oh
you know what I mean? Or
yeah, it would be scary. They'd be Super Bowl front runners. You put Aaron Rodgers on that team with that defense and those skill players, those weapons around. Are they a playoff team with Joe Flacco? We've been talking about them being on the bubble.
I mean, they're a playoff team now, right? I mean, they won yesterday. They were first place in the AFC East.
No. Now they're sitting on the outside looking in because the Bengals won. So they lost.
But if they would have won yesterday, they would have been number one in the AFC East. Because of I remember watching it. Because if they,
that's how
I hear what Lonnie's saying. Because they would have been a playoff team with Flacco. I see what you're saying. They do have the caliber to be it. Yeah,
sure.
I agree.
But right now they're sitting on the outside looking in. Technically,
right? Because they lost, they went all the way down to the bottom, right?
Yes, yeah, it's that close in the AFC.
It's a brutal division.
Oh yeah, you've got 7-3, 7-3, 6-4, 6-4, right? I think that's those are the standings right now. It's very tough. So. Yeah, they went from first to last by winning or losing that game. Anyway,
They were never first.
say they bring in Joe Flacco, then are they a playoff team? I mean, then would you pick them to make the playoffs? Because with Zach Wilson, we're saying no, probably, but throws Flacco in there. Do they have enough to catch up to the Bengals? We'll say is the team, or the Patriots. Really, Patriots. Do they have enough to catch the Patriots if you bring in Flacco?
Their schedule looks kind of tough. I don't know, man. They have to play the Bears, the Vikings, the Bills, the Lions, then they got the Jaguars.
That actually doesn't sound that tough. That schedule sounds pretty soft.
Really? That sounds pretty tough to me, man.
Yeah, the last game's tough, and then they have to play the Dolphins. So
say it again. Say the lineup again.
All right. Bears,
minus
Vikings.
No Fields.
Oh, Justin Fields is hurt.
Oh yeah. How hurt is he? Is he going to be back?
He's day to day.
All right.
But he even when he was before he went out, he was still not really running as much, which made him much less effective because he can't throw the ball at all.
He put up like 40 points the last 2 weeks.
I know, but then he got banged up in that game yesterday, and then he was like not running. You could tell the commentators were even commenting on it, and then he got knocked out of the game. So he's, even if he comes back, he might be as a passer, as a pocket passer. We've seen what that looked like early in the season. It did not look good, and if he's reduced to that, he's not the same guy. He's not the same potent offense. I think with Flacco, it's going to be really interesting. I hope they bring him back in because I'd like to see the potential, at least, or close to the potential, which is the guy who can get the ball in those playmakers' hands. I want to see what they can do. Patriots defense is better than you think, though, maybe also. So let's not give all the blame to Zach. Plenty of the blame goes to Zach Wilson, but that Patriots defense is legit. They're going to make some other quarterbacks look bad this year, I think, too. Let's see what else. Oh, another fun record that was set yesterday. Travis Kelce set the record for most 100-yard receiving games as a tight end from the tight end position, 33 games. This record, I think, is just another example why Kelce's the greatest of all time. You guys buying in? Kelce, greatest tight end of all time, or are you not sold yet?
I mean, physically, I don't know. I think he's gonna have the best record. You know what I'm saying? Like,
what's the record again?
Legacy.
The record is most 100-yard receiving games as a tight end, 33. And part of it speaks to the longevity, but the greatness in longevity. You got to remember, Tony, what's his name? Tony Gonzalez. He also played for 22 years, and he doesn't hold that record. Kelce's been playing.
Also didn't have Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, dude.
He had hold on. He was the primary target on some great offenses. You were talking about some of the best Chiefs teams that got knocked out.
Quarterback.
He had Trent Green for a while, who was balling out in Kansas. They had number 1 seeds in Kansas City. He was on some really good teams.
Yeah, but were they a running team or were they a throwing one?
They would throw the ball quite a bit to Tony Gonzalez. I'll
just say that the league was different back then. Like, that was the Priest Holmes years. That was maybe even some of the Jamal Charles years, if I'm remembering correctly. But like, I don't know, man. I don't remember Tony Gonzalez ever being like Trent Green is definitely not a Pat Mahomes. Yeah, he played with Matt Ryan for a couple years, but like, I don't know, man. Like, the way that the tight end position evolved, like if you throw Tony Gonzalez now into a system like that, I think you're looking at, listen, is Travis Kelce like up there? Absolutely. I would say definitely one of the greatest tight ends. Is he the greatest tight end of all time? I think you still got to give that to Rob Gronkowski, to be honest. Like, I don't think, I think Rob Gronkowski, you're talking about the most, like, and don't get me wrong, like, I'm not a huge fan of Rob Gronkowski. I think he's a fucking doofus, but like,
that's why I love him.
Like, physically dominant, skilled receiving.
He was
like, you got to give it to Rob Gronkowski, really.
I agree. He's like the juggernaut in real life. Once he got going, you could not stop him, dude.
Like, I remember them talking about, like, he broke the NFL. Like, they couldn't cover him.
Yeah.
He was too fast,
too strong
for a linebacker to cover, and too strong for a DB. Like, they just couldn't figure him out.
He was great. He was his Gronkowski's peak is probably better than anyone's, but it didn't last for very long.
It did not. It was 3 years, and I don't think they ever did. He win a Super Bowl with the Patriots?
Yeah, he won a Super Bowl, at least one with the Patriots.
Won two.
I think he won two. I want to say the Falcons and the
Falcons.
Seahawks.
That's right. Falcons and Rams.
Oh, he might have been.
Oh no, then he
out.
won 3. Then he won Falcons, Rams, Seahawks. Yeah.
But I think he was out for one of those. I think he was actually out injured for one of the Super Bowls.
Probably.
He got a ring, but he didn't play in all of the ones that he got a ring for. And then of course he won with Tampa. So yeah, his peak was the best. His peak was the greatest we'll probably ever see a tight end perform at, maybe. But Kelce's been great.
I don't think that's true, Nick. I don't think it's the exact same conversation we were just having about like the Josh Cribbs and the Cordell Pattersons. Like, I think the opposite is true. Like, I think you're going to start to see the league lean more towards these freak of nature tight ends, because you're going to start to see these guys that because right now, basically, like, tight end used to be the guys, like, they were tweeners between offensive tackles and receivers. They were too heavy to play receiver, but they weren't heavy enough to play offensive tackle. So they blocked mostly. And if they caught a ball every once in a while, it was great. Now you're starting to see guys that, like, instead of playing receiver, they're going to gain 20 pounds and play tight end. Like, it's not now that you're just not heavy enough to play an O-line. Like, now it's like, oh, I can still catch and be a star. Like, I don't know if I know you guys don't watch a lot of college football, but I forget his name, but there is a guy right now. He plays for Georgia. He's the #1 tight end in the country. He runs a 4.45. He's 6'6", and he's 280 pounds. Like, there are guys coming out right now that are just monster. Like, they are freaks that they're going to make Darren Waller look like a joke in 5, 6, 7 years. Like, I think that's where the NFL is headed. So I absolutely think we have not even come close to seeing the greatest tight ends.
I'm with you.
You make a good point, but I also think a lot of the guys you're talking about are receiving tight ends. And what separates guys like Gronk and Kelce and probably even Waller when he was really good is they are also great blockers. Kittle, you can put in this conversation. The best in the league right now are phenomenal receivers, but also incredible blockers. You don't have to take them out for any plays. And
I don't know, man. I agree with the Gronk conversation, but I also do think the greatest is yet to come, dude. The way that the tight end position's getting leaned on. Look at Kittle, dude. Every year there's some new stud tight end. Like,
and none of them are, but none of them are as good as Kelce. None of them have overtaken Kelce. He's 30 years old, and Kittle's not as good as Kelce.
Bro, no one is like on the Pat Mahomes and that Chief offense. Wait till Miami gets one of those star tight ends. You'll see.
But he's more than just Pat Mahomes. He's uncoverable. He was doing that kind of stuff with Alex Smith. Like, he is a great route runner. I agree too, but there's gonna be another. There's gonna be a 6-7 version. Okay, maybe there is, but are they? But we're not talking about what might come along. We're talking about right now, greatest tight end. If you're picking your all-time team, are you picking Kelce or Gronk? Gronk. For 10 years. You have to have the same team for 10 years. Still picking Kelce? I mean, that's not my only player, right? No. But I'm saying, I'm picking tight end. Gronk brings something. It's like having Tyreek Hill on your team. He brings something that no other position really has. You know what I'm saying? There's other great route running positions. You know what I'm saying? You can have a great route running receiver to kind of make up for what you lack at tight end. But that, like, steamrolling Gronk that does, I don't know what other position can do that. Yeah. Really. Listen, if Gronk had the same longevity, I would say he's the greatest. But Kelce she's not showing any signs of slowing down or not being the #1 tight end into his 30s, which is crazy. Mm-hmm. The #1 in the league, like, by a lot. I just think, Nick, the way that things go is you have, like, these guys, they come up, like, they come up looking up to these guys, right? So, some guys who could play receiver might be really good at blocking, and they're like, you know what, man, I'm not going to lose the 25 pounds. Like, as a matter of fact, like, I'm going to play up.
Like, yes, I can block, but I can catch. And I want to be like Travis Kelce. I want to be like Rob Gronkowski. Like, I want that, I want to be like them. So I think, a Travis Kelce is very good for the sport because it is going to inspire the young guys. Like, I'm telling you right now, in college football, it already is. Like Will Mallory for I cannot remember. Let me look up his name. But I'm just saying, like, I'm going to say his name. And if we're still doing this podcast in a couple of years, like, you're going to see, you know what I mean? Like, you're going to start to see.
Yeah. What's funny is I'm actually planning on trying to draft that guy on my dynasty team because people have already been telling me about him. I'm planning on drafting him to replace Kelce on my dynasty team. So literally, I want to get that guy that you're talking about as my Travis Kelce replacement. What's his name?
Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers. Name. Okay. Yeah. I'm already like planning my draft picks around him specifically because I want him to be the next Kelce. So I'm very curious to see if that, as that progresses, as he progresses, and how that plays out. But I think we still got a couple more years of Kelce being the number one. I'd say till he's 33, he's the number one in the league, probably. All right, what else we got? Cowboys. We talked about the Cowboys crushing the Vikings. Odell is now looking harder at the Cowboys. He tweeted about it, and they tweeted back to him. That was a good statement when just on selling Odell Beckham to come. If Odell Beckham goes to the Cowboys now, seeing what they did to the Vikings, who are you scared of in the NFC if you're the Cowboys? Who are you concerned about seeing in the playoffs?
49ers.
I mean, the Eagles put it on them still, right?
It's a divisional game, man. I think you start to think a lot about, like, it's funny, man. Like, the way I feel, and if I was an NFL head coach, like, I would almost rather lose a team in the regular season that I know I'm going to face again in the playoffs. Like, you think of the Buccaneers and the Saints, you think of the Packers and the Buccaneers. Like, you think of these key teams that, like, you think of the Chiefs and the Buccaneers. Like, the Buccaneers, like, their march to the Super Bowl, they just dominated teams that they had played earlier on in the season. Like, you learn the tendencies, you start to pick up on things. Like, yeah, the Eagles might have put it on them. I think they put it on Cooper Rush, to be honest. I wouldn't be like, seeing 40 points in the NFL, not just 40 points, but a 37-point lead on an 8-1 team.
Yeah.
I think everyone's antennas just went up to Dallas. Like, everyone's like, oh. And I remember us talking about them at the beginning of the year being like, they gave up this year. Like, this is going to be a wasted year.
Yeah.
And man, just goes to show you what a defense can do for you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I like it. I like them going forward. Yeah. The only teams I see right now, the Eagles, if they can get their shit together, the Eagles have looked bad the last couple of weeks, even though they've won 3 out of the last 3 games. They haven't looked great. 49ers, yes, definitely are going to be tough, I think. How about Washington? They did, by the way, name Heineke the starter, and he rewarded him again. And it was when they asked Ron Rivera why, he just said he's winning. He's a winner. He wins games, and that's what I was talking about. He's like, he's just hard to beat on the football field for whatever reason it is. He's a winner. He plays tough football. He makes timely plays. He's got whatever that thing is.
They did play Houston though, right?
Yeah, but they annihilated Houston. Yeah.
What's their record?
It's not great, but they also just beat the Eagles pretty bad, and the Eagles are at the top of that.
You just told me the Eagles weren't playing well.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I think, and they almost beat they did lose to the Vikings, but they should have probably beat the Vikings. I think Washington's a team that might make some noise in the playoffs in the NFC. I could see them going past the wild card round. And also that's
right now at the playoff picture. Yeah, I think you've got the Eagles and the Vikings. Those are your teams that you're really, you're looking at in terms of who you're nervous at. But the 49ers, again, surprising the 49ers record, man. The 49ers seem so much better than 5-4.
They added McCaffrey and Jimmy G came back. They've been a different team since those things happened.
So, but I mean, yeah, you've got, like, I don't think anybody's worried about Tampa Bay right now. Nobody is really worried about Seattle. I mean, they can sneak one up on you, but, like, I think if you're Dallas, you're looking at San Francisco, you're looking at Minnesota, and you're looking at Philadelphia. And I think you're feeling pretty confident about all of them, to be
Feeling
honest.
all right about that. I feel pretty good. I like seeing a tough Cowboys team. I'd love to see them go deep in the playoffs. It's been forever.
Yeah, so would I, but it ain't gonna happen.
Oh boy, we'll see how this plays out. This is gonna be fun. I hope they get Odell Beckham too. I think that's gonna be good.
That would be pretty sick. I would love to see Odell Beckham on the
It's just
Cowboys.
classic Cowboys, big, splashy, free agent, wide receiver.
I love it. The only problem with Odell is he's not controversial enough. You know, like he's just not like.
He's been controversial enough. He's actually
remember the poop, the poop on the chest stuff. We forgot about that.
He's kind of in that sweet spot where he's controversial enough, but he's not gonna like implode the locker room. Like he is also mature enough that he can help them win, but he's controversial enough to be a good, flashy, exciting signing. So I like it. What else we got? Bengals got a tough win against the Steelers. They're looking like they're starting to be playoff ready. They're just looking tougher. Joe Burrow looks tougher. You see this with teams who lose the Super Bowl oftentimes or lose in a championship game and they're young. Like they were just happy to be there last year, you kind of felt, right? And then they lost the Super Bowl, which they had a very good chance to win. And now they just look grittier. They faced some adversity. I remember the Chiefs after they lost to Mahomes, after he lost to Brady in the AFC Championship game, his MVP year. He came back the next year and he just had this toughness, this grittiness, this like been through the ringer look. And I think that's what Joe Burrow's got this year. You guys see that at all?
I don't know if I saw that
every year.
You
see what?
Go ahead, Vital.
Oh, I was saying, like, I saw him come back. It was pretty good, but I don't know. I think the way that Pittsburgh played kind of exposed a big hole in Burrow's defense. It really seems like all you have to do is jump his routes and have the linemen jump up, and a lot of his low balls or get exposed. So any aggressive defense can really take advantage of that, man. Like they put him under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, he was under a lot of pressure last year too. They're also without Jamar Chase, arguably the best receiver in the league too. So finding ways to win without Chase, and Mixon went out in that game too. So I just like to see the toughness.
Ajay Pirine, you saw that he had 3 touchdown catches.
Yeah.
He's a really good backup. He's one of those guys I would have loved to have. I was recommending, like, there's a few backs that maybe you wanted to mid-season grab as a handcuff if you have room on your bench, even as a week-to-week thing if you got an open spot because of an IR. If you have Mixon, you really hope you have Pirine right now as well, because somebody else, if you don't, somebody's going to snatch him up.
I dropped him early on.
You dropped him. He's I feel like he's a must start if Mixon's out, the way that they're
absolutely.
Great receiver. He's an every down back. He's like their third down back. So now he's an every down back. He's tough and he can catch the ball. Lions are on a 3-game win streak. Not bad. I think the Lions are, they're going to be an upset kind of spoiler for the rest of the way. They beat the Giants, who we thought were kind of maybe pretenders, but they beat them pretty bad. You guys buying the Lions winning a few more games?
Yeah,
I can see that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we're going to play over under on the Lions. I actually have their schedule the rest of the way. Bills are now getting their second. So the Bills won. They played in Detroit because of the weather. They're playing in Detroit again because it's Thanksgiving. Does this give them an unfair advantage? Do you think, being the second week in Detroit for Thanksgiving? Little comfort zone. Having just
they know the city already.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't feel as hostile, I feel like, as a normal road game would.
It might throw them off because now everyone's going to be booing them.
Maybe, but I feel like there were some Detroit fans.
I
feel like there's some people from Detroit that were there cheering them on last week. So, and then we got a game in Mexico. We've had a few Mexico games, so the game tonight is in Mexico. All right, let's play. You guys ready to play over under? Let's play a little over under.
Yes,
I got some fun ones for you. Okay. So this is, we have Mexico. We've had a lot of games in London and some other games in England. We had our first game in Germany. The number of years, we're going to play over under, a number of years before the NFL has a franchise outside the US, in a city outside the US. Tonight's in Mexico City, which is not that far away, really. I'm putting the over under at 5 years before the NFL has an outside US NFL franchise. What do you guys think? Over or under 5 years?
Over. It's gonna happen, but I just think it's gonna take a little longer than 5 years. But yeah.
If it happens, it's going to happen in like a place like Toronto.
Yeah, definitely Canada.
Vancouver, I would say, might be another contender, but like both of those places are so far. Like, well, not Toronto, but having Toronto. I remember there was some talk about having Buffalo move to Toronto.
Toronto's huge. It's a very big market.
Because I think they played some games there before. I believe the Bills, like, they were renovating their stadium or something, and because it's so close, I think it's only like an hour away, Toronto from Buffalo, that like the Bills traveled very well. So I remember there was some talk about that, but I mean,
they've been talking about London for a long time because the fans.
London does not make sense though, dude. They're not gonna fly. Like, you're not gonna fly. How does the London team fly to Seattle and then back to London? It doesn't make logistical sense. You know what I mean?
Well, what would probably happen, first of all, there are already teams that are flying to London, a lot of them, and to other parts now of Europe. I think what they would do with the schedule is line up like 3 continental games in a row and then like 3 home games in a row. And probably have like a home base somewhere in the United States. But I think what they're really looking to capitalize on, and what they've been building for a while, is that fan base in London. And it is huge. It is enormous. Like, they have great fans, and they can.
That is true. There's a lot of UK Dolphins fans. It's crazy. They're all in the like fan bases online. I was like, yo, what? All right.
They could support their own franchise easily from a support, like just from a fan base standpoint. They could easily do that. And you're talking about, you're talking about flying some teams over there, but we're already flying 8 teams a year, probably. I don't know what it is this year. I think it's like 8 teams are flying to Europe for games right now. That's basically a regular season. Then you just put a team over there and bring them over here and do some long stretches so they don't have to go back and forth more than 2 or 3 times a year. It's not outside the realm of possibility. You think over 5 years? I think over 5 years, but I don't think much over 5 years. I think it's going to happen.
I think it's going to happen too, but I think also you need to build a couple more teams up, or a couple of franchises really have to start being terrible, right, to get moved. The NFL hasn't expanded hasn't had expansion in since Houston, or
Houston and Jacksonville, I think, was the last expansion. Or was Carolina?
Houston and Cleveland.
Oh, Cleveland, that's right. I forgot Cleveland was an expansion. I think it's going to be an expansion. I don't think it's going to be a move. Although they did talk about the Jags at one point, I think, moving over there. So, because they had a really big fun, because they were sending the Jags over like every year for a while, and they were like huge. Fun. There's a lot of and they were winning only in London. So,
and Jacksonville also doesn't come out for the Jaguars. Like, they're not a huge.
No, they don't.
They love. They get their games get blacked out all the time.
Yeah, they don't care. They like swimming in the pool at the stadium, and that's about it. Like, Jacksonville is a terrible place. I say that. I love Jacksonville. I have fans. I do shows in Jacksonville.
I like Jacksonville, dog.
I actually do like Jacksonville. But from a football standpoint, London is a lot better. Which is weird to say. It's because they're just a college football town, I feel like, more, All right. Next over under. We're gonna play the Lions. The Lions on a hot win streak, 3 games in a row. I'm gonna tell you they have 7 games left. Starting with this Thursday, Thanksgiving, they're playing the Bills. They have 7 games left. I'm gonna say the Lions, number of games the Lions win the rest of the year. Over under is going to be 3.5. Are they going to be over 500 or under 500 for the rest of the season? We've got the Bills, the aforementioned Jaguars, the Vikings, the Jets, the Panthers, the Bears, and the Packers. You're going over or under 3.5 wins? I like the Bears, the Jets, and the Jags and the Panthers as wins. I think Bears, maybe not. I don't know. They could also surprise the Vikings, I feel like, and they've already beaten the Packers once. You taking Lions over 500 rest of the way? Or under?
No, I'm putting them in under for that one, man. I got them at 3. Yeah.
3? Lonnie, what do you think? That's a pretty soft schedule going ahead.
I'm going to take the. I think I'm going to take the over.
I'm over, barely over. I think they win 4 more games, which would put them at like 8 and 9. And who knows, maybe in the conversation for the playoffs at that point, 8 and 9 might sneak you in back door. If they beat the Packers, that could be really interesting division wise. Right. And the last over under, the number of naps you are going to take at Thanksgiving this year. I'm putting the over under at 1.5 naps. Are you going over or under 1.5 naps at Thanksgiving this year?
I got a pretty late dinner. I'm at my girlfriend's house. I'm at my girlfriend's family this year for Thanksgiving. So I don't know, man. Maybe the stress and like the alcohol and stuff. I'm definitely, I don't know if I'm going to take a nap this year.
Because
you know what I'm much more well known for is a Christmas nap. That is usually a Christmas nap guy.
Christmas. I love a good Christmas nap.
Christmas naps.
Because I feel like Christmas, often you end up having to get up early, especially if there's like little kids around and shit.
Right.
Little cousins and whatnot.
And then it's like a big meal at 2:00 or something.
Like a big, we always did Christmas brunch. So are you even allowed to nap at your girlfriend's house? Is that even allowed?
That's what I'm saying. Right.
Yeah, that's a tough nap situation. I feel like you're definitely going to be on the under. What about you, Vital? You think over or under 1.5 naps?
I'm gonna have to be on the under too, sadly. But I'm gonna get a solid one in. But after that, busy.
No more. That's it. You're gonna be running around a lot. All right. I'm probably gonna take the over. I think on this 1.5. I think I'm gonna get 2 naps in this Thanksgiving, mostly just because I'm planning on being at home, probably having a couple of friends over. I'm gonna do all my cooking like I usually do on Wednesday. So Thursday, I just eat food and watch football. That's it. And it's hard to stay awake if you eat multiple rounds of Thanksgiving and you're at your house and you're on your couch and there are dogs involved. All right, we're gonna do a quick injury roundup. Kyler Murray obviously out, something to monitor. Kyle Pitts is on injured reserve, man. He was just starting to look good. That's a big blow for fantasy teams. Justin Fields going out. A lot of people thought they struck gold with Justin Fields for fantasy. Now that's on the reset. People are dropping their backup quarterbacks and trading them away. Joe Mixon, not serious, I don't think, but it's something to monitor. We mentioned Samaje Perine. Very important to look at him if you have Joe Mixon. Chase Edmonds got hurt, making the Melvin Gordon cut even worse looking. If your other running back gets hurt and you're still cutting this guy, that's bad. Clyde Edwards-Helaire got hurt, and Isaiah Pacheco looked really good. So I don't think that I got him on waivers last week in one league. I couldn't believe he was available. It was crazy. And he delivered. Kadarius Toney got hurt. Always been a problem. New team, same problem. Matt Stafford with another concussion. He's back in concussion protocol. This looks bad. Do you guys feel like Matt Stafford might retire after this year? Is this? Yeah. I've kind of got this feeling like he won the Super Bowl. He reached the top of the mountain, and this is just kind of feeling like maybe walk away at this point before it gets worse. Wan'Dale Robinson, the very talented wide receiver for the Giants, ACL done for the season. Jaylen Warren got hurt, which helps Najee Harris. Do you guys have Harris? I forget. Who's got Harris? Neither of you guys. No, I had to go up against Harris this week. Fuck. Anyway, Jaylen Warren going out helps Najee Harris. Some of these other injuries help other players. In returns, we had David Johnson of years past, got on the field for the Saints, I think it was. Zero fantasy relevance. Just shout out David Johnson, former fantasy league winner. Waiver targets. Latavius Murray is going to be probably the top of every waiver list for running back hungry teams. I think he's the only running back they have left in Denver. Samaje Perine, we mentioned. Treylon Burks had a really good game when the Titans last Thursday, it seemed like forever ago, downed the Packers. Corey Davis is probably coming back. Corey Davis is very interesting if Flacco plays. Zay Jones has been really good. Looks like the number one draft pick that he was all of a sudden. Curtis Samuel's a hot name. And then looking at replacements possibly for Kyle Pitts, you got Logan Thomas looked pretty good. And Jawan Johnson for the Saints has just been a touchdown machine this year from the tight end position. All right. So let's go. Let's do a quick Thanksgiving preview. We got Bills, Lions, Cowboys, Bills versus Lions, Cowboys versus Giants. It's a classic matchup. Pats versus Vikings for the late game. Now we're going to do one more fun little thing. What is your favorite Thanksgiving food that you have to have? And what player who's playing on Thanksgiving most resembles that food in the meal? I'll go first. I'll give you guys time to think about it. We have, real quick, Bills, Lions, Cowboys, Giants, Patriots, Vikings. My favorite Thanksgiving food is my mom's stuffing. And I would say the player that most resembles that on the field is Saquon Barkley, because he's just kind of the glue that holds the Giants together, right? He's like, even if the rest of the meal kind of sucks, if you got my mom's stuffing as part, it's going to still be a pretty good meal. And that's Saquon and the Giants. Like the rest of the team can be kind of shitty, not great, but if you got Saquon, you got a pretty good chance. You got a pretty good team. Saquon Barkley and my mom's stuffing. That's what I'm going with. You guys come up with one? What do you got?
I got one.
All right, Lonnie, go for it.
All right, I got green bean casserole. All right, that's my favorite meal, my favorite dish. And the player that I'm going to say reminds me the most of green bean casserole is CD Lamb. Okay? Because it doesn't show up all the time, but when it does, oh boy, are you glad to see it.
Oof, that's absolutely true about green bean casserole and CD Lamb. Nice, good one. All right, Vital, you got one for us?
Yeah, man. I think I'm gonna go with turkey. Of course, I don't know the backbone of the whole meal. I like the dark parts. So, and definitely, I'm gonna have to say that guy is Micah Parsons, right? Is that not? You need him, bro. I don't know what the Cowboys would do without him, honestly. And he's gonna be the highlight for me, I think, on who's gonna do better.
Right. It's not Thanksgiving without the turkey. It's not the Cowboys. The Cowboys aren't doing shit without Micah Parsons. I like it. All right, good. Who you guys got in those games before we pick tonight's games? Bills, Lions? Who do you like?
Bills.
Bills.
Bills? I want to pick the Lions. It's Thanksgiving. They play well on Thanksgiving. I'm taking the Lions. I'm doing it. I'm taking the Lions on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
I hope the Lions do win.
I think they always seem to get up for this. I think they're going 4 in a row, and it's going to be a fun game. Cowboys, Giants. Who you got, Lonnie?
Man, that's going to be a great game, but I think you're going to see a lot of Micah. I think big time. You know, this is his second Thanksgiving. He's been playing his ass off. The Giants offensive line, I mean, last game, he just made mincemeat of them. I think he's hungry. I think he's excited about this matchup. It's a short week for everybody, but yeah, I'm going to take the Cowboys.
I'm going to take the Cowboys as well. Same reason.
Yeah,
they're rolling right now, all of them.
I think you're going to see a big game from a lot of guys on the Cowboys. Like, I think this is a national game. They want to prove a point. Like,
Tony Pollard too.
Oh,
Tony Pollard, huge.
Oh,
just hitting a home run
out there, dude.
You know, I think him being the number one guy with the Ezekiel short yardage punch makes them better.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely.
At that line
around.
We've been asking for this for years, right? I mean, I feel like we've been talking about this for multiple years. Like, give Pollard more touches, get him going in these other ways, and then keep using Zeke the way you're using him. Because it makes him so good. I'm going to go with the Cowboys, and I'm going to say a different reason, because I think this is the Odell Beckham. They're playing to get Odell Beckham. That's what this is, because he said he's going to visit the Cowboys and visit the Giants. He's comfortable with the Giants. He already knows what the Giants are. If the Giants beat the Cowboys, they're making an argument to say, hey, Odell, look we got this. Come here and we'll beat them again. So I say they have to beat them. The Cowboys are going to win because of they want to get Odell Beckham and make that deep playoff run. All right. Patriots, Vikings, two teams that scored 3 points on offense yesterday. Who do you like in this one? I forget who the home team is. I think it's Vikings. This is a tough one.
I like the Vikings, man, but you think the Patriots are going to win because this is an American holiday, right? It's Thanksgiving, Pilgrims, Patriots. Thanksgiving took place in Massachusetts, if memory serves me, or probably didn't happen ever for real, ever anywhere.
Where's Plymouth Rock?
Yeah, I mean, there is actually some historical evidence that, well, I mean, natives definitely kept white people alive. They helped some of the white people stay alive. So that's probably, yeah. So you think the Vikings though? What about you, Vital? Who are you going with?
Ooh. I actually think the Pats are going to take this one, dude.
I'm going Pats too. I just think their defense is too much. And I think Belichick's going to look at everything the Cowboys did and be like, that's what we're going to do too. He's so good at game planning and also stealing other people's game plans to use them. So I'm going to go Pats. All right. Last we have, I'd rather have Kaepernick than. We're going to pick the worst quarterbacks of the week. Vital, nice job last week, man. Baker Mayfield put up a 1.04. Yes, much needed win for Vital. Lonnie, Jacoby Brissett, 29.86 points. Ooh. Blew up.
Dude, I thought they were going to play in Buffalo, man. That's why I picked it. And I was like, oh shit, the fucking game's going to get 6 feet of snow. I was like, this is a lock.
Yeah, that was a curveball. Although you still might have lost anyway, because I took Matt Ryan. He got a 4.62. So it would.
But if that game was in the snow like that, nobody's throwing the ball. Like it would have been no. Yeah,
but Jacoby Brissett broke out for some runs. I mean, it was slow, but he still ran. I was like, what?
Yeah, he made a couple big runs. So I think you still would have lost to my 4.62 from Matt Ryan. This week it gets really tough to pick mostly because of the Panthers. We've been on the Panthers quarterbacks a lot. And I don't know who the Panthers quarterback is going to be this week.
Yeah.
PJ Walker's a maybe. They even said Sam Darnold is looking better. So Sam Darnold could be in the mix. I don't know if you want to roll the dice on a Panthers quarterback or not, but I feel like it's not desperation time yet. What else? What other options are there?
Starting in New Orleans.
Yeah. I don't know, probably Dalton, but we're just waiting for, they won, I think. Didn't they win? No, they lost. No, they won. Andy Dalton won, but we're still kind of just waiting for that week when they're like, no, Jameis is going back in. You don't know when that's going to happen. So it could be this week. Not really sure. What else do we have here? And then we got some bad quarterbacks playing some bad, Jacoby Brissett coming off a good game, but playing against Tampa Bay. Jared Goff against Buffalo. Is that tempting? They're playing at home. It's Thanksgiving. Russell Wilson.
Tannehill at Cincinnati.
Russell Wilson at Carolina.
Daniel Jones against the Cowboys, but he can go off.
He can go off.
Davis Mills at Miami.
How about Marcus Mariota?
Mills is most likely getting benched. I heard.
Did you hear that? Oh, for who?
He's most likely going to get benched.
Who's their other?
I don't even know who their backup is.
I mean, that'd be a good pick, but we need a name.
Yeah, if we actually know.
And maybe they don't even know which one of them they're going to play. They probably have a couple choices there. Marcus Mariota at Washington. Washington's been sneaky good on defense. But Mariota.
For Houston, Kyle Allen.
Kyle Allen. I don't trust Kyle Allen to suck either. He's had some decent games.
I think I got to go with Andy Dalton. It's at San Francisco. Yeah, I'm going to pick Andy Dalton.
Okay. Andy Dalton. Good pick. Oh man. This is tough.
The categories.
Zach Wilson, but we think he's getting benched. Oh man. There's a lot of iffy stuff here. You know what? Jason, can I pick the quarterback of the team I just picked to win? I'm gonna pick Mac Jones at Minnesota. That sounds terrible because I'm a Pats fan and I just picked them to beat the Vikings, but they just won on a kick return without doing really much of anything on offense. And I could see that them not really asking a lot of Mac Jones to win that game. So Vital, what do you think?
This is really hard.
I know, man. I almost wanted to pick Aaron Rodgers at Philadelphia.
I know.
That's blasphemy, I think. But
all right, I think it doesn't look.
I also trust Mac Jones to play, I think, because it's a short week. I don't think they're going to throw Bailey Zappi in there, but that could.
All right. I think he's going to just have a bad game. Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones. All right. He's been pretty good. He's to give you an idea, he's rostered in most leagues. So that's
yeah, but he put up like 4 points against Seattle. So I'm not too stressed.
Yeah,
he's had a couple games.
He's had some bad games. It's not a terrible pick, and it's a tough week to pick it. So all right. Okay. What do we need to do you guys need anything to happen tonight for tonight's games for you to win? Nope.
Locked
in.
I need Marcus Mariota to somehow not outplay Josh Allen. How the fuck did that happen, dude?
Yeah, I didn't see that. Man, Marcus is a runner, and Josh Allen he just didn't have to do that much, I guess. I need in one of my other leagues, I need James Conner to not score 32 points, and then I'm okay in that one. I think that's the only one that I have any hope in at all. What else we got? Oh, and who's your DraftKings captain for tonight? This was a tough. Who'd you go with, McCaffrey?
Is it McCaffrey? I think it's McCaffrey. Is it really a tough pick?
Oh no, I picked Deebo Samuel. I think it's going to be a Deebo night. Went against the grain a little bit, but it was a tough week to pick the rest of the players. There's a lot of interesting players on the docket for this game. So
yeah, it was hard to pick.
That's
like 3 different lineups.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have some pretty interesting. I can't wait to see your guys' lineups. So all right, that's about it. We are gonna see you guys got shows coming up this weekend. You want to promo anything this week? Post Thanksgiving, nothing.
I can think of, man. I don't know why it's escaping me at this point. I had a bunch of shows last weekend, but nothing I can think of coming up.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll be back. Are you guys down to play? You want to play a special DraftKings on Thanksgiving as well with just those 3 games? All right. We'll send that. I'll send that to you this week. And I actually have 2 shows. I have shows this weekend, the Laugh Out Lounge in Winter Haven, which is like kind of between Orlando and Tampa. Yeah. And it's this cool little comedy club. It's like only been there for about a year. And I'm featuring for Jeff Richards from Saturday Night Live of Saturday Night Live credit. So really excited about that. Very excited for this weekend. All right. Okay. For anybody watching, listening, thank you for watching and listening to us. We post our clips on Instagram. If you want to see our short clips, YouTube and TikTok. Full episodes are available on our YouTube channel and anywhere you can listen to podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and all those other ones. You guys have a great Thanksgiving, and I will talk to you guys soon.
All right. See you guys. Have a good one.